Hey guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with a quick video for Season 22, and we're going to talk about some ways to get juicy damage and DPS in Season of the Witch, while taking advantage of some new artifact perks, supers, exotics, and weapons. Some of which may even be useful for the Crota's End raid launching this season, as well of course as other content in the game. So if you dig the video, be sure to get subscribed for more content down below. Also, big thanks to my friend Duddits for helping us out with this one. You can check out his channel linked in the description box as well for some juicy build content. But getting into the video today, this season we have the return of Monochromatic Maestro. This is one of the artifact perks for Season of the Witch, and dealing elemental ability damage increases matching weapon damage, and elemental weapon damage increases matching ability damage, with the bonus granted being a 10% damage increase for 5 seconds. This mod can pair up nicely with various abilities, supers, and of course weapons to boost outgoing damage. So looking at the Hunter here, we're running Star Eater Scales, where we gain additional super energy from orbs of power we pick up, and while super energy is full, picking up an orb of power overcharges your super, causing you to gain a burst of healing when cast, and a bonus to your super damage. Plus at maximum overcharge you gain an overshield. And so popping a super after picking up orbs of power with these equipped will boost its damage output, which in itself is pretty good. We can get a maximum of 4 stacks of Feast of Light by picking up 4 orbs of course, and if you're running ranged supers like Gathering Storm on an Arc Hunter, obviously they're pretty good for boss damage because you can hit bosses from a distance and continue DPS with weapons and other abilities. But then we can take advantage of Monochromatic Maestro by firing a weapon with a matching element. So if you hit an enemy with an arc weapon, right here we have Tessellation, but of course it could be any number of weapons, and that will proc Monochromatic Maestro. Then if you follow up with the super attack, of course in this situation we have the benefit of the Star Eater Scales damage bonus as well as the bonus we get from Monochromatic Maestro. So it's quite a big damage boost, but if we're in a DPS situation, of course we can switch to a heavy with a matching element as well, whether it's a rocket launcher, GL, linear or machine gun, whatever makes most sense for the encounter, and we can continue to DPS. Monochromatic Maestro lasts for just 5 seconds, so you need to be pretty swift to get the benefits for as long as possible. But there are certain weapon perk pairings which are pretty good here, so things like Explosive Light Rockets are really solid, as we'll be aiming to pick up orbs of power to proc the Star Eater Scales bonus, and again, in a DPS situation in a raid or something like that, you'll often have a Well of Radiance or other supers being used by players, so it's pretty likely that you'll have orbs on the ground already. So those will benefit the Exotic perk, as well as the Explosive Light perk, and once Monochromatic Maestro runs out from the initial proc with the weapon, you'll likely proc it again via your weapons in a damage phase, so you can always take advantage of boosted grenade damage as well after it's triggered again. And so the loop essentially is weapon damage to proc Maestro, followed by super damage of a matching element, which of course gets that damage bonus. Then if you follow that up with more weapon damage, preferably a heavy which matches the element of your super, it's a really good way to put out some solid damage, and if you get a breather or run out of ammo, you can always throw grenades out as well, and often these will be damage boosted too. It isn't only a Hunter thing though, obviously. You can do basically the exact same thing with a Chaos Reach Warlock or a Thunder Crash Titan. Warlocks can get super benefits for Chaos Reach by using things like geomex stabilizers, and damaging targets with Chaos Reach extends its duration, plus collecting Ionic Traces grants you energy for Chaos Reach. And then Titans can get Thunder Crash bonuses by running Curus of the Falling Star, which greatly increases your Thunder Crash impact damage, and you gain an overshield that lasts longer the further you travel before striking a target. It also of course isn't a given that you have to be on an Arc subclass, you could use other elements. The only thing to take note of is that right now the unfortunate thing is that Monochromatic Maestro doesn't appear to be working with strand damage. That's assumed to be a bug, so keep it in mind for the moment and hopefully it'll be fixed shortly. And also worth mentioning is that Maestro obviously provides a damage benefit at any time, so it doesn't have to be a DPS phase, and it's also something that can be used for tanky targets, mini-bosses, champions and so on. So it's a good one to have literally any time in almost any build, with the exception of Strand until that gets fixed. Another mod which can be very useful in these situations though is Rapid Fire Ranger. That's another artifact perk this season, and rapid precision hits against distant combatants weaken them for a short duration. This is generally less useful in a boss DPS encounter because it'll be cancelled out by other debuffs like tethers for example, but for solo use or single target damage, it could be pretty good because your initial hits with a weapon will proc both Rapid Fire Ranger as well as Monochromatic Maestro. So like you can see here, there are times where you can hit a target with a weapon to proc Rapid Fire Ranger and Maestro together, followed by supers or abilities for the bonus damage. and the addition of that debuff that Rapid Fire Ranger provides. So there are a bunch of ways to use this. Again, it'll be good with the raid launch this season, but it's also really nice for any difficult content in the game. So let us know your favourite ways to use these season mods down below. Again, Monochromatic Maestro in particular is one of those mods that works more or less all of the time and in just about any build in the game. So what we've looked at today is just some of the ways to think about taking advantage of it. But share any builds or ways you're using it down in the comment section. And for today, guys, that's what we have to talk about. So as always, I hope the video has been useful, and if it has, a rating below really does help us out. Once again, get subscribed to the channel if you've enjoyed the video and want to see more Destiny content, and be sure to check out my friend Duddits for some of his awesome build content, which is linked in the description box. Otherwise though, cheers for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.